All right, everybody. Welcome to our Intelligent IP webinar series based around Teams voice. I think there's just a few of you on here that might not know who PremCom are or who PremCom is. So we are IT solutions provider out of Buffalo. We basically do everything around your network, right? We're server-side network security. We're an MSP, but a large part of what we do is voice over IP. And today we're here to talk specifically about Teams voice. Now, we would never recommend any of you going and purchasing the licenses from Microsoft yourself for the voice portion, because if you have ever had to call Microsoft for support, you know that's not very pleasant. And that's why we've partnered with TeligentIP as a vendor for Teams voice, because these guys really know what they're doing. They're a Microsoft Gold partner, and plus you have us here at PremCom for support. So shortly here, I'm going to hand it over to them. I just want to let everybody know on this call, I think that Teligent will be doing some sort of prize giveaway on this call. But PremCom is also going to be giving everybody a favor drop for showing up to the webinar. What's going to happen on Friday, make sure and check your spam just in case, but you're going to get a link to get a few bucks to one of the restaurants around town. Favor drop, this company has some restaurants on their platform that you can pick from. And we're kind of teaming up with them to help support local restaurants. So like I said, make sure and check your spam on Friday, because all of you will be getting some sort of favor link for that. So I think I will hand it over to the guys at Teligent, and they can get started. They got some good stuff planned for you today.
Awesome. Thanks, Joel. We appreciate the opportunity to meet with everybody today, and we appreciate PremCom and Joel putting this together. We're very excited to kind of chat with you today about Teams, Microsoft Teams, and specifically in regards to voice. By way of introduction, my name is Alan Walker. I'm in Salt Lake City, Utah, and I have my senior sales engineer with me as well. Seth Du Bois, he is in Denver, Colorado. So we're a little bit behind you guys today from a time perspective, but hey, welcome to this afternoon, and I think we've got some enjoyable presentation and stuff to review with you when it comes to Microsoft Teams. I'm only going to take just a few minutes, because what we really want to do is show you what Teams is all about. We want to go into a demo and kind of show you the product so you can visually see how Teams works as a phone system. But basically, I want to kind of set the stage for a minute and just kind of introduce you to Teams and kind of our role and what we do, etc. What we have seen when it comes to Microsoft Teams over the last 3 to 4 years, there has been an intense increase in demand for Microsoft Teams. The interest has been overwhelming. We have actually seen, when it comes to Teams voice, we have seen Teams voice grow over 900% within the businesses across the US and worldwide that want to use Teams voice. They have had Office 365. They've been using Teams for collaboration and various other aspects within their business, whether chat, file sharing, the Teams rooms, etc., the Teams channels. But now taking that step, the next step into the voice platform, there has been significant growth with businesses because they're halfway there. They've got those feature functionalities within Office 365 and Teams, and now it's just simply adding the voice piece to it. And that's one of the other things that people have really liked, and as far as employees, what they've kind of requested in part of the popularity with Teams is the workers have wanted a user interface that not only has their chat, their calendar, and all these type of things, but they've also wanted their phone system on that same user interface, so they're not bouncing from one user interface to another for their phone system. And that's what Teams provides for you. The last thing that we've seen as far as the interest when it comes to Teams is obviously when COVID hit, the workforce, and as we know, changed dramatically. We started seeing people moving out of the office from working in the office all day long into working from home, working remote, and even hybrid operations. And Teams has just absolutely provided a very valuable tool in doing that, because you can use your mobile app, you can use your PC and the soft phone associated with it. There's desk phones, there's all sorts of devices. You can put up to as many devices as you want on your Teams client. Seth, he's one of those engineers that honestly, I think he's got about 8 different devices hooked up to his Teams client. So when someone calls him, it's like Christmas. Everything starts ringing, and it's quite exciting when a phone call comes in for Seth. But that's the thing about Teams, is it's a great product. Businesses across the world are using it. They're deploying that as their phone system now, and just because of a lot of those reasons that I just mentioned. And when it comes to some of the advantages with TeligentIP and kind of our association with Microsoft, as Joel alluded to, we are a Microsoft Gold partner. We have been so for about 15 years. And with our history with Microsoft, we actually we built quite a staff. We've got about 30 employees. That's all they do, is live and breathe in the Microsoft world. And we specialized in unified communications. And over the years, we have been a partner with Microsoft. We have kind of gone the whole gamut with Microsoft. When they first rolled voice out, it was Link, and then it went from Skype for Business, and now into Teams. And so we've lived through all 3 phases with Microsoft in the voice world. So, we've seen each product and each level develop, and honestly, we think Teams is probably the best product they have rolled out. So once again, we're excited to show it to you. What we're going to provide and show to you today is a native solution. Once again, meaning that you're going to see, if you're using Teams and Office 365, you're going to see the user interface is going to be no change. We're not doing any bolt-ons, any interfaces, or taking it from Teams to another platform. This is truly a native solution. And with that, we provide all the support. We do all the heavy lifting, the hand-holding. When we have a customer sign up with us, we have project managers and Microsoft engineers. So as Joel alluded to, you don't have to go to Microsoft and get involved with them. And matter of fact, when it comes to implementation, they don't get involved. It's basically on your shoulders to do all the heavy lifting. But we take that load off, and we do the support, we do the training. We provide 24/7 access to our team and our engineers to help you out and take care of all your needs when it comes to Microsoft Teams. And the last thing I'm just going to mention before I turn it over to Seth is just one of the benefits as well when it comes to Teams versus going with Microsoft is we have a lot of options and really provide you with a lot of functionality that you wouldn't see with Microsoft Direct as far as phone system functionality. Some of those things that we provide is we actually have 2 different contact centers inside of Teams. We have what we refer to as a mid-tier and then a higher level. Depending on your needs and the requirements, there's 2 options that do work within the Teams user interface. We also provide SMS, so as far as text messaging within the Teams user interface, we'll show you that here in a few minutes as well. But call recording and call reporting and call failover. If Teams was to ever go down, we have the ability to failover because we're controlling the voice. We have the ability to fail over the calls to whether it be cell phones or other offices, or we even have some of our customers that we have another unified communications platform that they want to fail over to that for a backup. So a lot of options there that are available. And lastly, what I'm going to mention is from a phone system functionality is we have support for devices that you would see in phone systems, like overhead paging, connecting that into Teams, door buzzers, and those type of things. So we see a lot of requests for that as they want the phone system working, whether it be like on a premise-based system or other options in having those features and functionality as far as the overhead paging. So we bring all those enhancements in. Those are options, and customers can build the system out and use Teams. Bottom line is what we're saying is a lot of people, I think the thought maybe is Teams is pretty basic. They're not going to get the full functionality that they would with their previous phone system. And what we're here today is kind of show you that Teams is a great product, very, very enhanced, and there's a lot of options, and you'd probably be amazed in regards to what you can accomplish with Microsoft Teams. But I'm going to stop there. I will mention I'm going to be sitting in the background now, so if you guys have questions, feel free to throw some questions in the chat. I'll try to answer those while Seth is doing the demo. We're going to kind of walk through some various different aspects. Seth will set his agenda as we show you the product. But fire away if you've got questions. And as Joel alluded to, at the very end of the hour, we will be doing 2 drawings. We're going to spin the wheel and see who wins. I'm going to put everybody's name in a wheel of fame, I guess, and we're going to spin that. And we've got 2 $100 Amazon gift certificates that we're going to be handing out to the winner. So anyway, that's it for me, and I'm going to turn it over to Seth.
Great. Thanks, Alan. Okay, so as Alan mentioned, we're going to go through this whole thing. He'll watch the chat, but also don't hesitate to come off mute and stop me and ask questions. We'll jump around as we need to. I want to be sure that this is valuable for you guys. I know probably everybody has a different level of understanding of what Microsoft Voice looks like. So we'll show product. We'll jump around as we need to. We're going to talk about the desktop application, which you should be very comfortable with. It looks like everyone who's in here with us joined from an application of some sort. So that one should be easy for us. We'll then look at the mobile app so that you guys can see the mobile app. Like Alan mentioned, I do have some desk phones that we can talk about desk phones if that's of desire to you guys. So I'll jump around as I need to, but what the goal for me today is to show you guys what the phone system is capable of and to get you an understanding to be able to know, yes, that'll be able to replace what we need to, and it'll cover all those things. So don't hesitate to interact with me. I love that. But overall, it's going to be pretty straightforward. What you're seeing here on your screen now is my Teams client. So this is me logged in as my user. You can see that in the top right-hand corner. You can see here on my calls tab on the left-hand side, because I have the phone system license, I have a dial pad inside of Microsoft Teams. So that's the first place that we kind of start. When you are looking at Teams Voice, there are 2 ways to get that enabled through Microsoft. One of them is an E5 license. So if your users have E5 licenses, that Microsoft Teams Voice is already embedded in that license stack. And then if you don't have the E5, we can add a phone system license to any user who needs that functionality as an a la carte option. So once we add that for users, your dial pad shows up here. And then Teligent provides every user that's got that what we call a direct routing package. That package is going to include a phone number. If they've got a DID already, we will port those over to our control and then reallocate them to those users so you don't have to reprint business cards. It also includes inbound and outbound traffic on that phone number. So it allows you the ability to have all of that happen inside of Teams. And really for your users, all that's going to happen is you'll allocate that license. We'll do all the build out on the back end. They log out, log back in, and on this then calls tab, they have that dial pad show up for them. So really valuable solution for you guys who are living in Teams. And like Alan mentioned, this is just one more thing to bring into that ecosystem to allow you to have your internal messaging, your internal calls, your conference calls, all of that live in a single pane of glass. So for those of you that are aware and understand already, Teams is a great user interface for information that's in other locations. So for instance, your call history here, this actually builds out in your Exchange Online folders, and it allows Teams to go out, grab that information from Exchange, and then present it to you here and on any other device that you are logged into. So like Alan mentioned, I've got a lot, but specifically the ones I use most are my desktop and my mobile phone. So with those, that information stays synchronized across both devices because it's coming from that single repository. You'll notice, because I have not only Teams calls, but also those 10-digit dial calls, that with those calls, it's going to show me all of those calls in my call history. It also allows me from here, if I want to add contacts. So if I decide, hey, I know who this person is, I want to add a contact here, I can do that. But it's also going to pull over your contacts from your Outlook folder. So in the top right-hand corner up here, you can see it says View Contacts. If I click on that, that's going to give me another tab over here called People, and I can now search my Outlook contacts. So if I search for my last name, you'll see all the people here who have the same last name as me. Any phone number is clickable to make a phone call to. If they have multiple numbers, all I've got to do is click that icon, and it shows me both of those numbers and allows me to choose which one I want to dial from here. Again, these are going to synchronize over from your personal contacts inside of Outlook. So it's one cohesive solution in that regard. If I come back to that calls tab, I'll also point out your speed dials over here. Speed dials can be a couple of things. They can be Teams users, which you'll see most of mine are. They're Teams users that have a presence on them. Some of them are not. So down here, like this guy, my buddy Peter Parker, you can see I've got other information in here for him, but this particular speed dial is just that one phone number, which is his cell phone number. And if I click on that, then it gives me the ability to connect with that person. These also translate over and synchronize over to your other devices. So when I show you my mobile device, you'll see those same speed dials, but also on my desk phone. If I opt to have a desk phone, the one that we love and recommend is the Yealink MP56. You can actually get an expansion module that ties to that. Your speed dials show up on that expansion module, and it feels very similar to an attendant console that a receptionist may already have on their desk. So if you've got someone who's answering phones who they say, I absolutely need to have that phone on my desk, I like to see everyone's presence there, we can accomplish that inside of Teams as well with a desktop device. Also in here, I get these tabs across the top of my history. And with this, I can filter out what's in my history. If I had a voicemail, like let's say Leslie left me a voicemail yesterday, and this voicemail would sit there in line. She didn't, so it's not showing there. But if I want to see just my voicemails, I click voicemail. It's going to show me the two that I have. And when I click on them, I get details over here on the right-hand side. So I do get a transcription of that voicemail. I get the ability to listen to that voicemail. And with a single click, I can call that person back with whatever icons are available. These voicemails, again, because Microsoft is a good user interface that's grabbing information from lots of places, these voicemails actually live inside of Exchange as well. They come to you as an email, and they are presented to you here from your email inbox. So this voicemail that you see here exists as an email in my email inbox. If I click these three dots and click delete, it will delete the email from my inbox. Or if I delete it from my inbox before I ever come back to my Teams tab, it synchronizes across and doesn't show up here. Same thing with marking them as unread. So if I click those three dots and mark this as unread, you can see it's now an unread voicemail. And when we get to my other devices, you'll be able to see that that synchronizes across and shows unread. The email itself in my email inbox is also now marked as an unread email. So I can close out those details here. That's kind of the user interface for your Teams voice. So again, all we're doing is taking your current interface where you may be doing internal calls. You may be making all of your Teams calls from here. Once you get that dial pad from that license that gets enabled, we'll give you that phone number and you'll be off to the races to be able to start making and receiving calls. From here, I've got the ability now to be able to show you a little bit of the strength of the routing methods that are inside of Teams. So if I click these three dots and click settings, I get this settings pop up, and over here on the left-hand side, I can click on calls. This is really where we can add the control and the power of the Teams phone system to my specific user and have my calls do exactly what I want them to do. So you'll notice this very top option forwards all my calls. So if I turn that on, some of these other options disappear because they're not available anymore. You can see for me, it shows me the last option, which was forward to voicemail. But if I click that drop down arrow, I get a new number or contact or forward to a call group. So let's say I'm going on vacation and I want to forward all of my calls to Alan because he's going to take them for me. All I've got to do is type in Alan's name, pick him out of my directory, and now all of my calls are going to forward to Alan. Every user has the ability to do this. They can push them back to an auto attendant. You may have a call queue or a hunt group that you have set up that's the vacation hunt group that gives a greeting that says, hey, the person you've called is on vacation. If you'd like to talk to somebody else, press 1, and then maybe you have it ring a group of people. But you can have that go to any location, either on net, or let's say I want them to go to my cell phone number. I can click my cell phone there, and it allows me to send it to an off-net number as well. So if you have an answering service that's answering calls or something like that, you can push those to another location that way. If I turn that forward all calls off, I get these other options. And again, this is where the strength and the power of Teams is. All of these can be changed by an individual user, but the administrator can also change those on the administrative backend to help support those users. Like Alan already mentioned, when you choose TeligentIP as your partner in this, we're going to be available to you to help maintain all of these users, manage all those changes, and help you out with that support. But as I step through here, you'll see I get the option to choose what happens with call waiting, or sorry, inbound calls first. When I receive a call, right now it says don't ring anyone else. But if I want it to ring another name or contact, I can do that, or I can have it ring a call group. And we'll talk about the call group at the bottom in a minute. But again, let's say rather than me going on vacation, I've got a big project that I'm working on and I need Alan to help me support me with my calls. This is an option where I can say, all right, ring me and ring Alan. And that will allow Alan to be able to help me out with my calls as I'm working through this big project. It again can be another off-net number. It can be any contact, and also a call group. And again, I'll show you that here at the bottom in a second. The second option here is your call waiting. When you're in a call and receive another call, you've got to tell the system what you want it to do. You've got these three options: play a busy signal, let the new calls ring you, or redirect these calls as if unanswered. And the as if unanswered is this next rule down below. So for me, this is the redirect to voicemail. And I can choose anytime between 10 seconds and 60 seconds to have that call ring me before it does that option. So for me, when I get a second call, if I'm on a call like this, it will redirect to my voicemail, and it will do so after 20 seconds. I can make changes here as well. So sometimes this is where people say, I want the call to ring me, but then I always want it to go to another location, and you can choose that out of your drop-down menu here. So lots of options and lots of capabilities. The next section allows you to choose ringtones based on the calls that are coming into you. So your direct calls can have a different ringtone than your forwarded calls, and then your delegated calls. So all of these have a drop-down. You can choose different ringtones so you know what type of call is coming in. Those calls also will show themselves as they pop up in the toast down here when you get all your pop-ups. Next piece that we'll look at is this manage voicemail. What this does is this allows the user to be able to manage their voicemail from here. If they click record a greeting, it calls the voicemail box. It allows them to record a busy greeting and an out of office greeting and be able to manage those greetings from there. If they don't want to use the ability to record them here, or they can't because maybe they're on an airplane and can't make that voice call, they do have the ability to use the text to speech greeting here with this box. So that is one of those options that's available to you for both the manage out of office voicemail and your busy voicemails. So if a user wants to use that, it's that easy. The other thing that I love about Teams with their voicemail is they give me this drop-down arrow that allows me these 4 options to be able to put in place with my voicemail box. So standard voicemail, let the caller record a message. The one that I use, let the caller record a message or then be transferred to someone else. Play your greeting and then end the call. Maybe this is just an informational voicemail box. And then play your greeting and then transfer the call to somebody else. So you're not ever going to let them leave you a voicemail. But again, for me, I'm using them, let them record a message or be transferred somewhere else. And you can see here, I have a test auto attendant that I've put in place. So my voicemail may sound like something like this. Hey, thanks for calling, Seth. I'm sorry that I missed you. If you need help from me, leave me a message. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If your needs are immediate, press 0 and the system will transfer you back to the auto attendant and you can get to someone that you need to. Let's say, for instance, I know that Alan is going to back me up. I could also leave my voicemail here and have it say, hey, thanks for calling, Seth. I'm on vacation for the next 4 days. Leave me a voicemail and I'll call you back when I get back. Or if you need to talk to someone now, press 0 and Alan will take care of you at this point. So lots of different options there for you on how you use this rule, but you can transfer this, and you'll notice here a name or number can be picked. So it can be an off-net number, an answering service, auto attendants, hunt groups, or individual users. We'll go ahead and put the auto attendant back in, because if I don't, someone will tell me my calls are going the wrong place. Same thing you can do with manage out of office voicemail. One of the nice things about the out of office voicemail is you can tie it to your Outlook auto replies. So if you have a generic out of office greeting like mine, I'm out of the office, you can tie it to when Outlook auto replies are on, and then it will only use that greeting if your out of office reply is on. So kind of nice to tie those two things together. And if you want to, you can also take the text that you've got in your email auto reply, drop it here in your text to speech, and then it will speak essentially what someone's getting in your email when they get that auto reply back. So pretty nice feature functionality there. The piece that I mentioned to you earlier that I told you I would talk about, this managed call group. So this is something inside of Teams that's pretty unique and valuable for some people. What this allows you to do is every user can have their own individual call group. So if I want my phone to ring and say I've got 3 other people who are my personal assistants that handle my day-to-day, I can have my phone still ring. It will go to my voicemail if nobody answers it, but maybe I need to ring those 3 people as well. So let's say for today, we're going to call this Alan and Aubrey, and we're actually going to put Ryan on here. So I'm just going to choose Ryan off my list, and I'm going to ring everyone at once. So it's going to be simultaneous ring, but you could also have it be in the order below. So my calls are going to ring Alan and then Aubrey, it's going to ring everybody, Alan, Aubrey, and then Ryan. If I come back here then to the top and I say, when you receive a call, also ring my call group, that means when I get a call, those 3 are also going to ring. And when I set this up and use this, I typically go longer than 20 seconds. I might go 30, because then all 4 of us will ring. If that call doesn't get answered within 30 seconds, it's going to redirect to my voicemail, and then it's going to allow my voicemail to be the one to pick this up. So really nice feature there to be able to have that call group. It's functional for a lot of people. Not everybody loves it, but it is something that you can use there that is nice. And then last at the bottom here, something that is actually really nice also is this manage delegates. So very similar to how email delegation works in Outlook, they've given you delegation inside of Teams for your phone calls. So if I add Alan as a delegate for me, what this allows me to do is to show the things that Alan can do on my behalf. So I can have him make calls, receive calls, change call and delegation settings, and pick up my held calls. Let's say I don't want him to be able to make calls for me, but I do want him to be able to receive my calls, and I only want him to be able to pick up my held calls. I can make those changes. I can have multiple delegates, and they can help me in different ways. Again, this can also be managed in the admin portal. So this allows me really good flexibility on an individual level if you guys want to use delegates as well. So again, you're seeing here the power of the Microsoft ecosystem and bringing your phone traffic into this ecosystem here. I haven't seen any questions yet, so we'll not have any questions yet, or we won't answer any questions, and we'll just continue forward. Again, if you have questions, don't hesitate to come off mute or drop something in the chat, and I'll answer questions, or Alan can help me answer questions there. One of the other things Alan mentioned that we have the capability to do inside of Teams is to provide you with SMS service or text messaging service on your phone number. So this is my Teams phone number, 720-504-0064. We install a little app that runs inside of Teams. It does it on the desktop and it does it on your cell phone. But if I click on that, you'll see this load up here. The Teligent application is going to handle all of my text messaging back and forth. You'll notice it's not only text messaging, but it's also picture messaging. and it allows me the ability to have back and forth text conversations on my work phone number rather than maybe on my personal cell phone number. So these are all the conversations that I have that I've got tied in here. I can tie my contacts to this book as well. So it will pull my contacts in if these phone numbers are in my contacts, and you'll see names, not just phone numbers. For me, most of mine are through demos, and so they're just phone numbers that I have out there. But it makes it really nice. If a picture comes in, some of you guys are probably familiar with snow recently. I think you guys had some up there in New York. I'm in Denver. Last weekend, we got a handful of inches of snow, and so it's pretty fun to have that. But that picture messaging and that text messaging all comes into that one place. The other thing that our text messaging app does that's a lot of fun is allows you the ability here, if I click the drop down arrow, to have multiple what we call text boxes. And this one right here is a group text message box. What this means is I have one phone number, and this is the number here, this 512 number, that multiple people are sending text messages out on and then receiving text messages back on. You would think that might get a little bit crazy because you don't know what's going on, but the system allows you to be able to understand who's text messaging back and what's happening inside the system. So for this conversation, I can see Leslie has responded back 3 or 4 times here, but then here, you is me. I've also sent messages back to this person. And if I send another one, you'll notice then that Leslie and I both have conversations that we're dealing with back and forth. So it's really nice to have that interaction. Yeah.
A question, and
Please.
This is kind of an application that you put on top of the Teams program. Is it an encrypted communication between the user and yourself? It's kind of important with NPI, license plates. We'll get a lot of people that'll text in a copy of their license, their state license. So,
Sure.
And that's personal information, so it needs to be encrypted. So,
yep. So SMS itself is not encrypted because of the channel that it's on, right? There's not an encrypted SMS channel because of the way we have to interact with the other carriers. The information itself, when it's held, in the database, is then encrypted. But when we're sending and receiving that traffic, it's not encrypted. So we always have to be careful and let everybody know. You want to be careful the types of traffic you have going on SMS. Something like that, you probably want to have happening through email, or if they've got Teams, an instant message through Teams. But SMS inherently is not an encrypted traffic. So you got to be careful about personal information, HIPAA, that kind of stuff.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. I saw one in chat. Was there a question in chat as well, or was it the same? Oh, perfect. Bill, I see your question about the workstation. I'll leave some time at the very end to show you that. I do have one sitting here, and I'll hold that up to the camera so that you can see exactly what that desktop device will look like. Okay, so that gives us text messaging back and forth there. You can do it on a group level. You can do it on an individual level. This can be turned on for just a portion of people or 1 or 2, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be everybody or nobody. So you let us know, hey, we want to try doing maybe some marketing on our mainline number, but we don't want our individual users to do it because we don't want them, having conversations that are sidebars. So just keep that in mind. We can turn that on for different users. There is I won't say lengthy, but there is a decent size questionnaire that we go through that we have to submit on your behalf to help the mobile carriers understand the kind of traffic you will be passing and make sure that your stuff is not marked as spam or junk, because they're starting to crack down on the types and the amounts of text messages that are able to go out from businesses. So keep that in mind if you want to do this, but our team is great. They'll get you all that information. We'll get you up and running as quickly as we can. Okay. So that we don't run out of time, I'm going to jump over here to the mobile app. So hopefully you guys all have some experience in the mobile app. It's one of our favorites because it allows us the ability to accomplish almost many things inside of Teams on the desktop as it does on your mobile phone. We find it very capable The one thing that it struggles with is screen real estate. And so obviously that's something you got to keep in mind. But you'll notice here, this is my cell phone. I'm in Teams. This is the meeting that we're in now. If I jump out of this meeting and go here over to my calls tab, you'll see on calls, I promised you that speed dial would synchronize across. So here's that speed dial. All of those are coming across from my desktop. If I add them on my desktop, they synchronize back over to here. There's that guy, Peter Parker, that you saw on my desktop as well. If I tap on recent in the top middle, this gives me that same call history. So it allows me to see all of those same calls that you saw on my desktop as my history here and interact with those people from here. Top right-hand corner, that cassette tape icon that some of the younger generation won't even notice as a cassette tape. They just know it as their voicemail. Here's that voicemail. You noticed that it's synchronized and it made that top one unread because it read the inbox and said, oh, this one was made unread, and so now it's unread. But if I tap on it, I still get to see the transcription. I still get the ability to listen to it if I want to, and I still get the ability to delete it. So all of that functionality is available to you from here on the cell phone. Makes it really nice. If I want to make a phone call from my Teams phone number, so my Teams client, in the bottom right-hand corner, that purple circle with the handset, that's where my dial pad lives. So if I make a phone call from this dial pad, this is going to use the outbound calling line ID that we have set for you inside of Teams. That could be your main line. That could be each individual's DID. It doesn't matter to us. We'll set that for you. And individual users can have it set different ways. Oftentimes, salespeople are going to have their own calling line ID pushed out, whereas your receptionist might have the main line pushed out. We'll set that for individual users, and they'll have the ability to take care of that. You still have your contacts that show up here on your phone, but it's a little bit different because inside of your cell phone, it's trying to maximize storage. So what it's doing here is it's actually taking the contacts that you have on your phone. So as long as you're taking your Outlook contacts and dumping them to your phone or synchronizing them to your phone, you're going to see all those same contacts. So you'll see here's all those people that show up as my last name. And you'll notice this time that rather than a single line with that extra, you have multiple phone numbers and so multiple lines for people. So it is a little bit different in the way that it shows, but all of that information still here for you. Okay. From here as well, I showed you the text messaging on the desktop application. Down there at the bottom, you can see Teligent SMS. This is that Teligent SMS app that's going to load here into your mobile application as well. It's going to synchronize everything across. So you'll see all of that information still synchronizes across. If I tap on that top conversation, you'll notice that I still have the ability here to be able to see the picture. Yep, this one. So once I tap on that, I can see those pictures from here. I can download those pictures from here. Whatever I need to, it's all here for me on the mobile version of the app as well. So it's all going to synchronize across. I also have the second box, the shared box right here. So all of that is coming to the same location. Again, the one big downside for most people is that screen real estate. I'm also a keyboard and mouse guy, and I don't get a keyboard and mouse here. The other thing that's really nice about Teams on your cell phone is you do get some options to be able to separate work and personal life. So if I tap on my photo, top left-hand corner, I get this slide out menu. And in this slide out menu, I have that notifications section. This notifications section is going to be specific to the device that you're on, but you'll notice down here at the bottom, I get this block notifications section. I have quiet hours set, and those are set from 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. Monday through Friday. So for me, during those periods of time, I'm not going to get any calls. Let's say also this weekend I'm not on call, so I'm gonna have quiet time set all day, Saturday and Sunday. It's that easy. I also have the ability from here to be able to choose, hey, when I'm active on other devices, don't ring my cell phone. When I'm in a meeting, don't ring this device. When I've got in-app notifications happening in another place, don't turn them on here. So this is all changeable for each individual user on these particular devices so that they can maybe use a personal device for work, but not be bothered outside of work hours. So it makes it really nice. On top of the notifications, I still get some of those call function options that you saw on the desktop. So if I tap top left-hand corner, my photo, I get the slide out menu again. From here, if I tap on settings, from here, I can go down just a little bit and tap on calling right there in the middle. And you'll notice those same 3 options that you saw on my desktop, the call forwarding that I can turn on, the also ring that I can turn on, and the if unanswered to my voicemail. Synchronizes across all devices what I'd change in any location. You'll notice here there's less granularity. So the majority of these changes they want you making on the desktop, because on the desktop version of the app, you get all of that granularity that's really nice for you, but you do get some high-level changes that you can make here. You can manage your delegates there. You'll notice on the voicemail now at the top there that you can change your voicemail greeting, but that's really it for your voicemail on your mobile app. So keep in mind if that's going to be a problem. And we didn't really talk about this, but down here at the bottom, I have that demo call queue, and that's turned on. In Teams, we call hunt groups call queues because they have a queuing aspect. And with that, I have the ability to take myself out of those queues by turning that slider off, or putting myself into those queues by turning that slider on. So it gives me the ability to see all of that information, manage all of that, even here from the mobile app on my Teams. Makes it really nice. We have a lot of people who this becomes kind of their primary device, right? Where they've already got a Bluetooth headset that they tie to their cell phone, AirPods or Galaxy Pods or whatever they've got. And even when they're sitting at their desk doing all their work from their keyboard and mouse, they're using their mobile phone as that device where they're making and receiving their phone calls. So you can function any way that you want. You can see for me, I've got a headset on. It is tied to the video feed on my desktop. So the only thing you're seeing from my mobile phone right now is this screen share, but you can have a mix and match back and forth of both of those. So these 2 devices together make it really nice to be able to have control of your phone calls as well as everything else you're doing inside of Teams pretty much at any time and no matter where you're at. If you've got internet access, you can get those phone calls delivered to you. Okay, so that kind of covers the mobile app and the desktop app. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to the desktop and I'm going to show you a little bit the admin portal. I think there's value in seeing the admin portal, being able to understand what the auto attendants and the call queues or hunt groups look like and the power that they have. So we'll spend a little time there. And Bill, I'll save a few minutes at the end to just kind of hold up that Yealink phone and show you what that looks like. But it does look like Alan has given you a little bit of information there inside the chat. So you'll notice here on my end, this is just a web browser. This is the Teams admin portal as it stands now for you guys. What we do as your partner in Voice is we ask for access in here to help you be able to manage and maintain the phone system. And we will jump in here the first time to help build all of these things out and make sure that your routing functions the exact way that you want it to go. So you'll notice here I've clicked on Voice and then I've clicked on Auto Attendants. I've got a couple built out in here. Let's look at this main one, this Teligent Auto Attendant. You can see I have a phone number tied to it. So inbound calls coming into this number are going to come in here. I've tied an operator who is myself, but that can be a person in the organization, no operator, or you can set an external phone number if you want. You set a time zone for your scheduling and a language for your voice inputs and your text to speech inside the auto attendant. You don't have to have voice inputs turned on, but if you do, when you come into your call flow, you can have a directory search set up either by name or by extension. So the beautiful thing about this is if I come back up to the top, calls are going to come into that phone number, and the way this auto attendant's currently set up, it's going to add this greeting, text to speech, thanks for calling TeligentIP. If I have a voice talent that I want to use, all I've got to do is click on play audio file and I can upload that audio file here. Then coming further down here on call routing options, I have this set up on my menu options to build out a full menu. I can make them listen to the menu options by clicking force listen turned on. And then I can just type them out, or again, if I have somebody who's recorded it, I can upload that audio file here. You'll notice the end of this text to speech says, if you know the name of your person you want to talk to, say their name now, because the system's going to listen for that voice input and understand who's in the Active Directory to be able to send calls to those people. You then build out your menu. Dial keys here, and you can see if I click the drop-down menu, I get all those as options. A voice command because we have the voice prompts turned on, and with the drop-down arrow, a redirect to different locations. That might be a different call queue, that might be another auto attendant, that might be a voicemail box, that may be an individual user. Just depends on how you want that set up. And again, we're going to have kickoff calls with your team. Make sure that the system is built the way that you need it initially, and then help you maintain and manage it for the life of the system. So not only do I have daytime hour call flows, but I also have after hour call flows. And this is going to be mad at me because I took that out. But if I click on my after hours call flows, you can see it can be totally different. I can set different daytime working hours so that I know my after hours for each individual day here. And then you'll notice on my after hours call flow, it's got a different greeting that's being used by text to speech. And then it's redirecting to an external phone number that maybe is our answering service. One step even further, you can have holiday flows. So maybe this is Memorial Day. Maybe this is a lunch that you guys have once a month. Each one of these can be set up individually to have a specific greeting and a specific routing method that happens for it. We will help build these out, and you guys can also manage and maintain these for the long term, or we can jump in and help manage and maintain as well. The dial scope on here allows us to do one thing that's actually really important for most companies, where if I turn on those voice prompts, I may want to only include a handful of users in the voice prompts for the directory, or I may want to leave everyone in except our executive team. So I have those options where I can change who's included in that directory search from the auto attendant. I then have the ability to tie different resource accounts to it. So phone numbers, it can have multiple numbers tied to it. And then setting up authorized users outside of a team's admin that can then make changes to those auto attendants. So those are really powerful auto attendants. And the main thing there that we use those for is the scheduling piece. So even if you're going to push all of your calls, like Bill maybe does, to a specific receptionist during the day, after hours, we might go directly into a voicemail box. And so we'll set that up so that during the day, it goes to that one person. During after hours, it does something totally different. Now, call queues are also something that's really powerful inside of Teams. So what this does, if your current system has hunt groups or work groups, that's what Teams is inside of, or what a demo call queue is inside of Teams. The reason they're called queues is because they do have a queuing aspect to them. So you'll notice, similar to the auto attendant, I have a phone number that I can assign to it. This one actually doesn't have a phone number. I took the phone number from here and put it somewhere else. So this particular call queue can only be reached internally once someone comes in through the auto attendant or is transferred to this call queue. It also allows me the ability to play a specific greeting and have specific music on hold if I want to. And then I set up who my agents or the people that are going to be answering calls inside of this call queue here. With agent selection, I choose my routing method. We can use presence-based routing based on their team's presence. We can allow call agents the ability to opt out of taking calls. And we can choose the time that it's going to alert each agent and then move on to the next if it's not attendant, which is simultaneous routing. And then because there's call queuing going on, we do have to have our exception handling set up. So for this one, it's got 3 calls that can be queued up. That 4th call is going to be kicked over to a voicemail. For call timeout, after 45 seconds, that 46 seconds hits. This one is going to be redirected to a different call queue. And then because I have that option for agents to be opted out, I have this set up for no agents opted in or signed in, and you can see this one also goes out to a voicemail. So again, really powerful from what this can accomplish. You're not expected to be the expert in here at all. We want to come to the table as the expert and the partner with you. We want to show you what this system is capable of, gather the information from you, build it, let you test it and tell us what needs to be fixed. And then when it's ready the way you need it, help you use Teams as your voice service for the future. So it's not just us coming to the table and saying, hey, here's how the system works. Good luck. You're off on your own. we want to be your partner for the life of that contract. We want to be sure that your phone system is working for you in a way that's valuable to you. Okay, so we've got the giveaway we've got to do. And before we get to the giveaway, I am going to stop sharing my screen here, and I'm going to turn off my blur. Believe it or not, this isn't my actual background, but you guys probably all knew that. Let me turn off my background here so that you guys can see this phone that I'm going to hold up for you. Okay, so this is a Teams certified desk phone. So Bill, this would be the kind of device that we would provide to you. And actually, let me pin myself so that you guys can see this larger. This would be the device that we would provide to you for that receptionist. This has a big 7-inch touchscreen. They log into this, and then this is that expansion module that allows you to see all of my speed dials and their presence. With this, I get 3 pages, and there's 20 per page. So you can have lots of presence there with this particular device. I'm going to take that off so that I don't have to hold up that much weight when I'm showing you the rest of this. But the difference in a standard desk phone and a Teams desk phone is significant. These Teams desk phones are certified devices with Teams. You log into them as your user. So you can see here, it's got my icon and my phone number here. This particular device knows it's me. It's also showing here the meeting that we're in. So it's showing me that meeting, and I can jump into that meeting because it's also got my calendar. I've got my calls here that show up. So if I tap on that guy, there's my dial pad. Well, and there's my my history. So I've got all of those available to me. The other thing you'll notice here is I get this banner across the top. This banner allows me the ability to jump into any meeting that I'm actively in with just a single push of the button. The Teams button down here gets me back to that home screen. I can get to my options if I tap on my photo. If I tap on more, you'll see here there's more options for me as well. But this particular device allows me the ability, it changes these guys here. In fact, what I do want to show you is my voicemail. So let me tap here, voicemail. You can see here there's those same 2 voicemails. So I'm even getting my voicemails that come across, the transcription comes across, and the ability to listen to it. So this is the device we recommend. This is the device that we kind of push forward for people who need that desk phone. This device has built-in Wi-Fi and built-in Bluetooth and the ability to function as an independent device outside of either your mobile or your desktop app. So it's something that's pretty powerful for somebody who needs that. I will tell you, what we find is that people tell us they need that. And once they're up and running inside of Teams, it really looks more like I'm only using my desktop or I'm only using my mobile device. And so they don't use that device long term. So Bill, what we would recommend is that you have that conversation with your receptionist. And if they want to have that and feel comfortable with that, we can move you there. But we always recommend like, hey, you should try it without because it is very nice without.
Very good. Appreciate it.
You bet. So Alan, we got about 5 minutes left. I hope that's enough time to get everything squared away and taken care of here. Is there anybody else that's got a question for me, for the system, for what it's capable of? Okay. Let's give some stuff away.
One thing I want to add is just so you guys know, this is the solution PremCom is currently on. We've been using it for the last year, and it's been great. Teligent was super easy to work with to get this up and running. And we live inside Teams now. We have our SharePoint connected into it. We message, we use the video, and it's great.
Awesome. I'm not seeing any other questions. We'll give it just a minute if anybody's got any questions. Otherwise, then we'll get to the drawing.
That did such a good job. No questions.
He does do a great job, doesn't he? Awesome. Well, let's and as always, reach out to Joel. We can do demos for your company, your group, et cetera, and spend a little bit more time answer any and all questions in regards to Teams. But that being said, Seth, I'm going to have you I don't think you're sharing anymore. I'm going to share my screen if that's
Great.
okay.
Yeah.
And we'll get into, let me move this over. We'll get into the drawing. So while Seth was doing all the talking, I put everybody's name in here. What I want everybody to do is make sure that your name is on this list on the right side. I think I caught everybody.
Take
If
Jim
not-
C out, Alan.
Yeah,
Good.
I was gonna say, I wanted to see if it landed on you, Jim. Jim's a sales rep over here, Alan.
Oh, it's Jim C. The Jim C. I know.
The Jim C, you know, yeah.
All right, Jim, you fooled me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
because Bill Packers knows I would have won, but that's okay.
Yeah, I got to take you out, Jim. So sorry about that. So anyway, anybody else? I think I had everybody else's name in there. I think we're good. So what I'm going to do is just to make sure this is done fairly, I'm going to shuffle the names. Let me hide this. So now that everybody's in there, what I'm going to do, this once again, this is for a $100 gift certificate with Amazon. And our first winner is,
Greg.
Greg.
Oh yeah.
All right, Greg, that was close. Unfortunately, Greg, you're
Yes,
the
sir.
first winner, so I've got to remove you. And then we're going to do one more. So this is for the second $100 gift certificate. And please, Greg, let me make sure I have your email. You should have that in here. If not, put it in the chat for me so we can email you that gift certificate. Let's go to the second spin and the last one for the day. And our next winner is, oh, that was so close. Zach.
Way to go,
All
Zach.
right. All right, Zach. You're the next winner. Once again, please make sure I have your email, put it in the chat. We'll get those gift certificates out to you. So anyway, I'm going to stop sharing, but we appreciate everyone's time today. We appreciate the opportunity with PremCom and Joel. Thanks for putting this together. We look forward to working with all of you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks everybody for
Thank-
coming,
Thanks
and
so much.
yeah, have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.